What does he weigh like normal? Right now, if you called him up, what do you weigh, brother?
I would say at least minimum like 185, 190.
Got here. He's 210 pounds.
No, Islam.
That guy's 250 pounds.
His strength feels like 250 pounds.
That's what I hear.
But that's the thing with them. They're always training. No matter what they're doing, they always at least run once a day or grapple.
He's big. That's about as big as you can get and keep doing that. Islam Makhachev is huge. I mean, that guy, how he makes 155 is, I don't understand it. Every time I stand next to him, like, how are you 155?
How much do you think he walks around?
He's got to be 190-ish, in the 190 range. He's got to be. That's what he looks like to me.
Makhachev is looking very big for his upcoming title fight against the welterweight champ JDM. Islam is feeling comfortable in this division and is confident to win his second belt in the UFC. Meanwhile, Dan Hardy shares his thoughts on Islam versus JDM, recalling how he praised JDM's striking years ago when Francis Ngannou was preparing for boxing. He highlights that JDM's stand-up still stands out to him. Shifting to Makhachev, Hardy believes the move to welterweight comes at the perfect time. Instead of holding himself back like many fighters do, Islam is letting his body grow naturally, which makes him even more dangerous. Islam. He's moving up to 170. He's going to be fighting JDM for that title. Do you think he gets the job done, or how do you see the fight playing out? Man, I've been high on JDM for a long time. You know, I remember doing interviews back when Ngannou was crossing over to boxing and people were talking about who's got the best hands in MMA, and I was saying JDM at the time. I mean, his boxing's always impressed me, but at this point, I feel like Islam's moving up a weight class at the right time. You know, there are a lot of fighters that stay in a weight class for too long and they seem to kind of stifle their physical growth. I don't think Islam can stay healthy and stay in that lightweight division for any longer. And I think right now he's allowed himself to move into a division where his body's just going to grow into it. He's going to be incredibly powerful. Dan Hardy shares his thoughts on the matchup, pointing out that Makhachev's complete skill set creates problems for anyone he faces. He views the striking as fairly even, with Islam holding a slight edge through his kicks. However, Hardy expects the wrestling and grappling to eventually take control, leading to a likely submission finish in the later rounds. All-round game is so problematic for any single fighter. I see him taking it and I can see him probably a 50-50 striking exchange. Makhachev winning with a kicking advantage, but then he's grappling and his wrestling taking over. Probably winning by sub in the championship rounds. Javier Mendez talks about Islam competing at welterweight, emphasizing that his strength sets him apart. He explains that out of all the lightweights he has trained, none come close to Islam's physical power. Because of that, Mendez believes Islam is the one best equipped to deal with the size and strength of opponents in the higher division. It's going to be so interesting to see how his body reacts on the fight night. You know, being able to consume extra carbs to be a little bit bigger. Like, what do you think is the biggest strength for him being able to go up to the sway class? I think the biggest thing on our side is he's very, very strong. Very strong. So yes, he's super strong. Out of all my lightweights, he is the strongest one out of all of them. I don't recall one lightweight stronger than him. Not even close. He's the strongest. So out of everybody I have, he's the guy that has the best opportunity to be able to handle the strength of the bigger guys. Javier Mendez gives credit to JDM's striking, pointing out how dangerous and versatile it is. He explains that JDM can do real damage with any weapon, whether it's punches, kicks, knees, or uppercuts. Mendez admits he is fully aware of that threat and warns that the longer the fight stays on the feet, the higher the risk becomes for anyone standing across from him. How do you rate JDM striking, and how do you feel like they match up with Islam striking? His striking is very, very good. It's very diverse and he's very powerful with every strike. I mean, he can hurt you with anything. He can hurt you with a kick, a knee, left hook, right hand, right uppercut, left hook, you name it. The guy's got the total arsenal to be able to put you down. So, I am definitely fully aware of what he can do, and also the longer it stands, there's always a good chance he's going to get hit, we're going to get hit. So, the longer it stands, the worse it can get for somebody at some point or another. Guys like this, they're both volume kind of, precision strikers. So, we just have to make sure that he doesn't land any of the bombs, and it could. Javier Mendez points out that JDM isn't a simple striker, but someone who throws in combinations, constantly switching stances in the middle of exchanges. He finds that style extremely impressive and admits it forces him to take preparation more seriously than usual. Mendez explains that for the first time in years, he is repeatedly studying JDM's fights on video, showing just how much respect he has for the challenge ahead. He's not a one-type guy. He's a 1, 2, 3, 4 type. Then rechambers and comes back again and he'll switch a style. While he's punching you, he's switching. So, you're going from orthodox to southpaw back to orthodox all-ball striking. And that's extremely impressive. Very, very impressive. I'm extremely impressed with them. And obviously, when I say I'm extremely impressed by them, that means I better work even harder because we actually have a real opponent and we have to make sure we get everything right because this is the individual that it can make our night a very bad night if we don't do our homework. And I'm definitely doing my homework. I'm watching him. I'm actually for the first time in a long time, I'm actually watching the video of an opponent. Even though I just watch him one time, but not this guy. I'm actually, believe it or not, I watched it 2 times already, the whole fight, and I never used to. So, this is how much I respect them. Javier Mendez reacts to Islam being listed as the favorite over JDM by dismissing the betting odds. He insists the matchup is far tougher than people realize and warns that underestimating an opponent can lead to disaster. Mendez explains that he refuses to fall into that trap, seeing the fight as nearly even, at best, a slight edge for Islam. I don't believe those odds. I'm sorry. It's a lot tougher fight than what the odds are saying. I'm not going on that. You get caught up with that stuff. That's when it could go bad. Just think about the people that were like 15 or 20 to 1 and all of a sudden they go out there and get their butt kicked, underestimating their opponent. It's dumb. I'm not underestimating this guy. If anything, it's a 1% advantage for us type fight. That's the way I want to look at it. Javier Mendez describes Islam as the type of fighter who doesn't need extra motivation. He just follows instructions and gets the job done. He notes the steady progress Islam continues to make and points out that while people often compare him to Khabib, the two have very different styles and personalities. Mendez highlights that each brings a unique approach, with Islam even having his own humorous way of expressing things that sets him apart. Islam has always been, the kind of fighter that you just wind them up, tell him what to do and let him go. And that's exactly what's happening here. He does his own. You don't need to motivate him. You just need to tell him what you want and he'll go out and do it. I'm very happy to see the progress he's making because I do see it, he's a different kind of guy. As you notice him and Habib, they're different. Islam isn't Habib. Habib isn't Islam. So, a lot of the characteristics of what they do or what they don't do, they're different, but they're also very funny in their own way. Islam's got some really funny sayings that really catch on, but they're their different approach. They're not the same kind of approach. Nick Barnhill believes Jack Della Maddalena brings the kind of style that could finally push Islam Makhachev into a real test, giving fans the competitive fight they've been waiting for. He feels Islam's run at lightweight never quite got the respect it deserved. Not because of his performances, but because of the sky-high expectations set by Khabib before him. Barnhill points out that setbacks like opponents pulling out and weaker replacements made Islam's reign seem less impactful than it actually was. I really think that Jack Della Maddalena has the perfect style to combat Islam and moreover give us what we've wanted out of an Islam Makhachev fight for years now, which is a competitive fight. Yeah, Islam. It was really unfortunate for him because his entire legacy as 155 champion is a bit tarnished, and it's not from anything he did, but because of our expectations and how good he is and the footprint that Khabib laid and then he had to follow. It felt very quickly that once he got the belt, there was a big gap in skill between him.